So 10 years ago, plus 2 days, the 6th episode of Star Wars Rebels aired on Disney+. The episode is called Breaking Ranks, so let's talk about it. So first, let's summarize the plot. Good place to start, in my opinion. So, Ezra infiltrates the Imperial Academy for youngsters, I forget the exact name on the song, in order to get some information, get Imperial decoders that will help the rebels, help the Spectres, I should say specifically, intercept a Kyber shipment the Empire is going on. While there, he meets two cadets, one who's looking for his missing sister, and another who is likely force sensitive. So that's basically what's going on. But that's just the premise. That actually doesn't tell us what has happened. So let's first talk about the first cadet, Leonis, that Ezra meets. Leonis, his sister went missing at the Imperial Academy, and he wants to find out what's going on. He suspects the Empire is somehow responsible for his sister's disappearance. And while he helps Ezra complete Ezra's mission, i.e. he lets Ezra know that if he takes the decoder out of Callus's office, an alarm is going to go off that sends the entire thing into lockdown. So they come up with a different plan that actually works. Ezra uses the Force and goes to the vents, all his normal stuff, and they get a decoder. But coming out from getting the decoder, Ezra is going over another office and hears the two of the Imperial officers who run the academy come, Taskmaster Grunt and Commodore whatever, or I forget exactly what the titles and names are. Pretty incompetent officers, by the way. We'll see them in a couple of other episodes this season before we see talking. Anyhow, he overhears them talking with the Grand Inquisitor about two cadets that meet certain expectations, check marks, whatever term you want to use, as the Grand Inquisitor has people looking out for that could reveal force sensitivity. Ezra, obviously, and then another cadet named Jai Cal. I hope I pronounced his name right. Star Wars names are notoriously difficult to pronounce. Anyhow, so Ezra overhears that, and then so he sends with Chopper the decoder out so that way, the Spectres can actually complete the mission. Kanan and Hera go off to do that. They successfully destroy the crystal. Escape at the last minute because a Kyber crystal destroying, being blown up, yeah, not a great thing. Vaporizes a bunch of Imperial ships. So that's more of a side tangent. So I really did like how that scene with Kanan and Hera fighting the Imperial convoy and all that is intercut with Ezra's escape attempt for the Academy, with Jai Cal and with Leonis. So they wake up Jai Cal in the middle of the night to tell him that he's in danger. He's a bit reluctant, but he does agree to go on with it, and they're going to take their reward for completing their assessment, i.e. still getting access to Imperial Walker, to steal it to make their escape. Ezra doesn't make it because he jumps down to stop another cadet from the word I am searching for some reason is another cadet from sabotaging, I forget whether it was Jai Cal or Leonis, sabotaging their run, so that way in order to not prevent them from getting out. I think I phrased that right. And so Ezra does that, but he manages to get to the Walker, he jumps, and of course the Imperials think he's trying to attack the Walker single-handedly when he does that. But anyhow, they get out though. Leonis decides to stay behind in order to continue searching for clues on what happened to his sister. And the episode ends with him talking with the Grand Inquisitor. And the question is, at this point, is the Grand Inquisitor going to sense that Leonis is lying, is helping the rebels? Well, thankfully, it's not 10 years ago. We actually know what happens with both Jai Cal and with Leonis after the episode ends. So, first, let's talk about Leonis because his story does not finish in Star Wars Rebels or any other live-action TV show. Instead, it finishes in some books, and I totally forget the book's name, but he finds his sisters being held on, I believe, Arcanus, and then with the help of Spectres, he gets out, he gets his sister out. Seems like it's a fairly happy ending. There's connection with General Hux from the sequel trilogy, as his father's running the academy at that time, and we have to see more of Brenda Hux's teaching style in the Aftermath trilogy. And then with Jai Cal, well, we see him later on in Star Wars Rebels helping the rebels out, so that's good. And we also get to see him in Ahsoka. That's right. In the first episode of Ahsoka, or is it episode 2? No, it's episode 1. We see him and he's the center for Lasal now, so he did pretty good for himself. I still want to see more of Leonis, but hey, it's good that both of those stories we do have endings for. We do know what happens to them after this episode. And Star Wars is really great with their interconnectivity and all that, really building out a unique, interconnected world that's, maybe not every event is always going to be related to each other, but there's always a degree of separation to get there. And speaking of connections to other Star Wars works, the Spectres are going after a Kyber crystal to stop the Empire from shipping them. One, we see that later on in Star Wars Rebels, but two, this is also connecting with Rogue One because Star Wars Rebels 10 years ago. 10 years ago. So, The Force Awakens came out in 2016. Rogue One was 2015 was The Force Awakens, 2016 was Rogue One, and 2017 was The Last Jedi. I'm recording this in 2024. So not only was Star Wars Rebels 10 years ago, 9 years ago was The Force Awakens, and 8 years ago was Star Wars story, Rogue One. I know I said that backwards. It happens. So yeah, quite a long time ago for those stories. It really feels like they're still new stories, but there's been so much Star Wars since then. But 2 years before Rogue One came out, they were already in Star Wars Rebels laying the groundwork for Kyber crystals being related to the Death Star and all that. They might have established that as some other reference books too, but we just love that interconnectivity there and building up to a future story that we probably didn't even know the name of. 10 years ago, I was still in high school back then, so yeah. But that really covers most of what I wanted to say, or does it? Because I really talked about the connectivity, the storyline, but what about the plot? What about character development and all that? How about this? When Ezra lets the Spectres know that he's going to stay one more day in the Imperial Academy in order to help other cadets get out, he says that their influence are rubbing off of him because the old him would never have stuck his neck out for anyone the way he is doing. So that's showing that even in the 6th episode, Ezra's already a much better person than he was way back in Spark of the Rebellion. Even Spark of the Rebellion showed that Ezra, he did the right thing in the end, and frequently he does the right thing often in these past episodes, but the idea is that before he met the Spectres, before he met the Ghost Crew, Ezra had no incentive, no reason to do the right thing. He was prioritizing himself. But now that he's met the Spectres, he has a reason to do the right thing. Honestly, the old Ezra always, I think, wanted to do the right thing. But because of survival, because of being alone, he never had the confidence, the courage to actually do the right thing. But now being with the Ghost Crew, I think he now has that confidence. And I think this episode, where they put him on his own once again, shows it because, yes, he still has their backing. He knows that they're there to help him if needed, but he's still ultimately making the calls on the ground by himself. He can't call them to say, hey, can we do this? He has to make that call himself, and he does. And really, we see this in future episodes with Ezra's growing as a leader and all that, but this is showing he's making calls on the ground that will ultimately be beneficial for the rebellion. We see that. Jai Kell, he assists in destroying the TIE Defenders. In fact, if I remember correctly, Jai Kell in the last episode, it was the person Ezra tasked with playing a specific message that will contact the Purgos to help them defeat Thrawn. I'm pretty sure that was Kell who Ezra entrusted. So if Ezra never made that decision to help Jai Kell escape the Academy in this episode, then they likely would not have been able to defeat Thrawn as soon as they did. Which is just like the build-up. 4 seasons build-up. That's assuming I get the characters right, but still. There's just so much going on, but Ezra is becoming a better person, and also he's making good decisions that ultimately prove out correct. And obviously, once the ghost group figures out why he was staying behind, they support him. But definitely, initially, they thought he was, being a bit crazy. I.e., Zeb was. But like I said, I think that's all I truly got to say now. Is there more? Yes, but that's what the comment section is for. So let me know your thoughts on this episode in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.